Welcome back. You know I love it. Political panel time. Ofirah Yheskel, Director of External Affairs, Democratic Governors Association. Jessica Anderson, Republican strategist, and importantly used to work at the Office of Management and Budget. I have mad respect for anyone who's an OMB vet because it's a super powerful agency in D.C. Great to have you here. I want to play for you sound from my interview with Senator Rand Paul about what may happen, not too distant future, dealing with Dr. Anthony Fauci and possible contempt of Congress. Listen.
We do believe he destroyed records. That's against the law. And I think that he could have answered that honestly, and he wouldn't have had any problem, no criminality because of his pardon. But in choosing not to answer it, I think it is obstruction of Congress, and I think there is a very real chance that he could be prosecuted for that.
Yeah, let me put these things together. Contempt of Congress. Oh, who should I call? The Trump Justice Department, which would probably not have any compunction about seeking a charge against Dr. Anthony Fauci based on the charges it sought against other people. Ofirah?
Well, I think this is a pattern of weaponization that we've seen the Trump administration do.
Not accountability, weaponization.
Weaponization of the government against who they consider to be political enemies. And I think, frankly, this is why Trump's numbers are so underwater with the American people. We just saw a CNN poll that showed that 3/4 of the American people think he's focusing on the wrong things and focusing on going after Dr. Fauci instead of on how you're going to lower costs and deliver a vision for the American people. I think it's exactly why Republicans are looking so vulnerable heading into these midterms in less than 100 days.
Well, I think what's clear from today is that Congress is actually the one that is trying to hold Fauci accountable, not really from the directive of President Trump in this regard, but from Senator Rand Paul and using the Republican gavel to get some answers. I thought it was interesting today that Fauci claimed, pled the fifth over 100 times. He brought his lawyer in. There was a lot of fanfare the last 24 hours about his diary comments and really what was behind his thinking as Americans were dying. He was counting photographer clicks. So there's a lot here that I think Senator Paul is right to try to investigate, hold him accountable, but also to get some answers for the American people. But the last thing I'll say, and I think we're all aligned on this, no one wants to go back to 2020. So I would love for this moment with Fauci to be over very soon. And
because there are other things that polling data, to Ofirah's point, voters do care about and would like a little bit of responsiveness to.
That's right. I think it's very natural for Congress to investigate and to hold accountable. That is their rule and prerogative, and it's certainly Senator Rand Paul's. But no, everyone I think has a little bit of just COVID fatigue, and we're just ready to move on. So answer the questions and let's move on.
So when you look at the polling universe right now, Jessica, I'll start with you. What do you see?
So it depends on any given day in the state.
No, I know, but
so
the
overall, Republicans continue to lag behind on a national environment. Republicans have always been kind of the sleeper when it comes to national polling. And then when you look at the state, you begin to see the state-by-state breakdowns where Republican candidates actually are doing well, and they're able to survive, if you will, in a tougher political national climate. I think you see that in Maine with Susan Collins' numbers being very aggressive right now. You certainly see it in Iowa. You see it with Mike Rogers' surge for that open seat in Michigan. Democratic primary next week, of course. I think that will bust right open. You see it in Ohio, right, with Senator John Husted mounting his first true incumbent Senate race against Sherrod Brown, who can't get enough of being beat by Republicans and came back a second time.
Ofirah, give me your thoughts.
Well, I mean, speaking of Ohio, the governor's race, there's in a dead heat. I think speaking to the national environment being so tough for Republicans, because Vivek Ramaswamy says things like Medicare and Medicaid were a mistake. And in states like Michigan, you have John James, who's an election denier, who's focusing on how he can kowtow to Trump instead of how he'll lower costs for the American people. And I think
so. You're looking at those two governor's races because that's what you do, right?
Because that's what I do. I'm bringing it back to governors as I want to do. But I do think in the states we're seeing that in governor's races, this vision of having something to deliver that's a positive vision on the economy has been a real boon to Democratic candidates, putting a lot of races in our favor in some toss-up states like Iowa, like Ohio, like Georgia.
Give me your 30 seconds on the Wisconsin governor's race.
Well, obviously, it's a very lively primary on our side, and we're neutral in primaries. I think whoever comes out of that will be equipped to hold Tom Tiffany accountable. And again, speaking of Trump in the national environment, a member of Congress who has voted with him a lot of the time has voted for his agenda that's deeply unpopular with the American people and is hurting Wisconsin, whether it's tariffs and farm bankruptcies being on the rise or manufacturing. All these things, I think, are something that we're looking forward to holding Tom Tiffany accountable for in Wisconsin.
5 seconds. Who's going to win the Democratic Senate primary in Michigan?
They're both great.
Oh my gosh. Can I answer my
That's what happens. That's what happens. Ofirah Yheskel, Jessica Anderson, thank you very much.